Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Thought for Shabbat. This week's Torah portion is a double portion known as Tazria Mitzora. And it is the portion that every Bar Mitzvah kid loves because it's about leprosy. Actually, they don't love it. It makes it very challenging. But be that as it may, we always talk about, with respect to Tazria, is the ancient rabbi said, why would somebody get leprosy? It's because they gossiped. And so we always combine those two. What we don't talk about often is leprosy and disease. And that is to say, all of us know people or are ourselves dealing with some sort of illness or disease. And our faith has a lot to say about this. A lot to say about how a person who is affected by a disease walks through it spiritually, and B, how somebody from the outside can help that person who is ill. Let's start with that person. The Talmud says that every time you visit somebody who has an illness, you take away 1/60th of their pain. And I love this idea that visits to people who are having struggles with their health are mitigated by the love and affection their friends and family shows them. So don't forget that. In other words, a text once a week to the person who's struggling with cancer, a phone call to the person who's had COVID for a week, whatever it might be, knowing that other people care really is healing for a person. So that's a mitzvah we can do. The person who actually has the disease struggles in so many ways. One, depending on the disease, they're either questioning their mortality or they're just in pain or it's a nuisance, depending on the seriousness of the illness. But in any of those cases, I think the question becomes, given my limitations of the illness that I'm in right now, how can I make meaning out of it? How is it that I can find a silver lining? And sometimes it's very, very hard to do. But I'll give you an example. I have known many, many people when they're close to death, and they choose to make those moments deeply meaningful by saying goodbye to people, by expressing their love for the people that they're closest to, by sharing wisdom with their children or grandchildren, knowing that this illness is so challenging and nobody would blame them to close their eyes and stay in bed all day. They choose to make something special out of what is a horrific event or a horrific moment in their lives. And certainly we can do that with the less serious illnesses that we face. Even when it's a nuisance illness, like a cold or a broken arm, there are ways to find a silver lining. And so I really want to encourage us to not just accept things as a fait accompli, particularly with respect to our health, but rather to dig deep and say, yep, I can't control this illness, but I can control how I respond to it. Much easier said than done, by the way. But that's our spiritual exercise, and this Torah portion, Tazria Mitzora, has me thinking about that on this Shabbat. Friends, please join us tonight for family services. All are welcome. We'll begin at 6:30 and look forward to celebrating Shabbat with all of you. Take care, be well, have a great weekend.